Roll it.
Okay. Hey, deck this out, everybody. It's Alex from TheSpikeFeeders.
How you doing, Ben?
I'm doing so good. I'm really, really excited to have you here talking about the, I guess, as we were kind of discussing before, your journey through Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, absolutely. This is basically the longest serving deck in my collection. It's basically the only piece of my collection that has endured through a couple of the quits I've had.
Yeah. I'm really excited to hear about it. So who are we talking about? Who's the leader? This is a commander deck, I assume.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. So this is my Aurelia, the Warleader deck. I've had it together for, gotta be close to 10 years now.
Wow.
And so when I first came back to Magic, when I first moved to Winnipeg back in 2013, I sat down at my local game store and I said, what's this commander business? And they handed me an Alloro deck. And I had that for a while and I realized, everyone hates this.
Having this dude that just gains me life every turn is starting to piss people off.
Yeah, it turns out talking a lot during your turns makes people go, I wonder if he's doing powerful things. So instead, I started building up purely through my judge comp, Aurelia the Warleader.
Wow,
and almost everything in this deck is something that I earned through store credit, just judging events, judging at various GPs, things like that. And it's stuff like this Archangel of Strife from the Vault Angel.
Wow. So I guess, realistically, this is being like pieces that you've acquired through as you were saying, like judging and just like your history of Magic. Every card at this point probably has like a little bit of a story to it.
Yeah. Now, could I remember half of them? No, but I can remember some.
I remember half the things I said last week on a show.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a really fun little go wide, attack a bunch of times deck, and it's got some really powerful effects that I really like Gisela. Assemble the Legion's probably my favorite card of all time. I've actually got a Rule Zero deck together back home. That's Assemble the Legion with no creatures in it.
It's just about having that out.
It's about Assemble the Legion and stuff like Raise the Alarm.
Things like that.
So I don't have any other creatures to go with it, but it's a very creature focused.
I feel like somewhere Shivam Bot's heart just pitter pattered there a little bit.
Quite literally, Shivam saw me bring it to Richmond 2022. I think it was what it was. He stopped, looked at it, I showed him the deck, and he's like, we should be best friends. And it was great.
And you're just like speaking to him on a deep emotional level.
Yeah, no, it's one of my favorite decks. It's maybe the easiest Rule Zero of all time because it's literally just, hey, can you deal with a bunch of creatures? Great.
Then we're going to have a good time. I mean, just looking at the spread that you've put on here, this feels like the best hits of Boros.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit, right? Like, I mean, I see the Iroquois got a victory and the Assemble Legion, and it's just like cards that as a Boros player, they make your heart feel good.
Yeah. Part of the reason I picked out these specifically is I can remember some of the origins of some of these.
Oh, please,
for example, how do I actually say this?
Iroquois? Sure.
Let's go with that one.
That one.
God of Victory is my second favorite card, Dolmen Gate, stapled to a guy.
I mean, that's what it is.
I pulled this out of, I believe this is Journey into Nyx pack way back when, and I remember thinking to myself, okay, I maybe can start building around something. So this was part of the proto, where am I going with my next commander deck?
That's so interesting because Journey to Nyx is when I fully got into Magic.
Oh, that's crazy.
That was the set that as I was like, there's I really like Greek mythology and stuff. This seems really cool, and so that's wild that it's like this card you pull it, you see it, and you're like, this gets me.
That whole era has so much of my focus because Heroic was just so much of what I was playing.
It was cool, yeah.
It was fun to play. Very, very good. Hellrider here actually came off of a game that my LGS used to put on.
Whoa.
So anytime there was a pre-release or a big event, what they'd do is they'd set up this big mat and it'd have something like 36 numbers on it. And what you'd do is you'd roll, I think it was 10d6 or something like that. And whatever number you got was the stuff you got.
No way.
And so Hellrider happened to come off that mat. It was just, you'd hand them $1 and they'd say, okay, roll the dice 3 times.
You could just get a card.
Bulk rares, packs, and some of the numbers that are harder to get, you get things like entire boxes.
Wow.
Yeah, so about once a year, you'd hear somebody just start going nuts because they'd have $500, $600, $700 worth of sealed product on offer on 36, right? And so that was a fun time. But I got myself a Hellrider.
That's incredible. I mean, I started going to pre-releases full on, like really just during like Cons block. Cons was the one that got me into, I was like collecting, occasionally with friends during like the Theros sort of block, but that's where I started to really enjoy it. And hearing these like big LGSs putting on like events, really, getting into it, like I was really sad that like I missed, because I know during the Nyx era they had like the Face the Hydra and like the Hero's Journey sort of thing that you could do, and you don't get to see the like as much during like LGS, but I love hearing stories of game stores really popping off during pre-release sort of
I think especially during this time, like that sort of mid to late teens before you start really getting into like War of the Spark.
Yeah.
You had more events like you could get guild focused packs or
I mean that's what gets me I got so excited about Dragonstorm, right, where they were just like, we're bringing back the clan boxes and stuff like that. Very, very pumped.
I think that's the kind of thing that really works out well, because just to give you another example of an era I've been through, is back when I was in high school in the first couple of years at college. That was before pre-releases were in stores. Right, so pre-releases, at least to my understanding, so please correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, used to be centralized events, almost on the scale of Grand Prix. And so, for example, when I went to school in Ohio to go to the it wasn't Shards of Alara, it was the set after Shards of Alara, which was Conflux.
Yes.
Conflux.
Yeah.
I went to the Conflux pre-release at this big convention center down in Columbus. I had to drive 2.5 hours with my buddies.
That's wild.
And we all just piled in, and it was like, all right, you need to register your seal pool because this is an official. And that was the first exposure to like what judges were for me, because I grew up in the cornfields. And out in the cornfields, we played games like, well, if you have more than 100 life with your well-wisher, you actually lose the game because you explode.
That's how it works, yeah.
So, no, just all sorts of nonsense.
You're playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Rules at that point.
And apologies to Matt if you happen to be watching this. I know I was lying. Anyway, 16-year-old Alex did not know how to play
You have
Magic.
to make up the rules a little bit, right? Yeah.
Exactly. But in any case, one of the things that I really appreciate about that transition to local pre-releases is it lets you start to meet people.
Yes, community.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All those guys I met in Columbus, they were nice guys, but I was never going to see them again because I went back to my tiny college town in Western Ohio, right? And so being able to start to build those communities lets you do things where you can start to be known for things. And if I had to be honest, I think what I was most known for back when I used to play a lot more community Magic was my Aurelia the Warleader deck. Wow. So that's why I wanted to show it off today.
Yeah, and I mean, this has persisted through so many years. And it's like, I mean, when we were talking out in like the area, and I was just like, bring your favorite deck. This Snapped was like the one that you came and picked up. I mean, that's so you've said you've left and come back, and you've left and come back and went to Magic. How has the like coming back each time process been? Like now you're coming back and you're doing it on the SpikeFeeders channel and stuff like that. Has there been like a big recollection sort of period for you?
Actually, I came into Magic this time around with eyes very wide open. I said to Jim, "Yep, I will come on the show. I will do the things. We will do this." But I said to myself, I'm not going to start collecting again, because one of the problems I had, part of the reason I liquidated back in like early 2020 was I had just piles and piles and piles.
It starts building up. Yeah.
Literal one time I had a tub almost the length of this deck.
Wait, you had the magic bathtub?
The magic bathtub, quite literally. And the problem was it was a combination of I have so much equity built up in cardboard, and built up in cardboard I'm never going to use.
Sure.
Because I had, years of drafts, years of standard sets, just random, decks that we put together. And don't get me wrong, cubing's fun. I like it, but you have to have people to play it.
Yes.
And, having just little fun nights is fun, but you have to have people to play it. And I got to the point where I wasn't going out to play enough, and I wasn't having people over to play enough, and so that's when I did that.
Yeah.
And then when Jim said, hey, come back, I said to myself, it's okay. You can have cards, but primarily what you're going to do is you're going to have things that you're going to use.
Yes, the forever decks.
Exactly. So the things that I've got now in my deck boxes that live with me and don't live in the studio are all the decks like Aurelia that I'm keeping around for a period of time.
Do you find that you're doing like a lot of like one-to-one swap outs and stuff like that? You're like, this card served me really well. Yeah. Here's some new thing. Okay, so if I'm putting this in, either this finds a home or this is going in for credit.
So about a year ago, Jim and Aaron and the boys all said, hey, we really need to, maybe look at some of the decks we're playing on the channel. And I made 2 swaps in Aurelia. Okay. And that was whenever City on Fire came out, which was in Phyrexia. All will be one, maybe?
Yes, yeah.
No, that can't be that, right?
Is it March? I think it's March in the Machine.
Sure,
one of the two. Yeah.
That whole years of blur, to be honest.
Shards of Alara, Conflux.
It's in there somewhere. But the point is that's the most recent edits I've made to this deck, and it's otherwise almost essentially unchanged.
Wow. Do you mind if I leaf through it just like a little bit? Yeah. Because I mean, like looking at it from afar, the first thing I see on top is the Skyline Despot. So it's got like some. Conspiracy, I guess, isn't new anymore, is it? Right. it's a little bit dated, but like there's a lot of we talk about like the biggest hits of Boros. They've got like the Spirit Avatars, Nobles of War in here, which is cool. I mean, like looking through this, a Johnny Vengeant. You get the stamp of the 3rd October 2008. for pre-release kind of stuff on here. And yeah, I mean, Red Elemental Blast makes me very, very happy to see. Like this is very clearly like a deck that is designed as like, this is the thing that I like to do in Magic, and I feel it seems like you feel comfortable every single time like sitting down to play it.
Quite literally, I don't want to be spending a lot of my time on intricate Rube Goldbergs. I don't want to be trying to connect up all the dots when I'm just trying to have a good time. No, I'll do that for content all day long.
Yeah.
That's interesting and fun for other people to watch. But in terms of what I want to be doing, if I'm not playing literally my Assemble the Legion deck, I want to be turning things sideways often enough to be a problem to the point where people think I'm
and then when it's not your turn, you press F6 and
I just sit there and I go, okay, do you need help? Do you need help? Do you need help? My turn. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. God, that's so judge brained a little bit. Like you know, helping out the store kind of a thing. It's like I do this. All right, and I'll be back. Do you need some help? Kind of a thing.
Exactly. And part of it was even when I moved to Winnipeg and had other groups that I was playing with before I started playing full time with the Spike Feeders, it would quite literally be, you know, there was many nights where I would be the only judge, and so I'd be in the middle of my game and I'd hear behind me, "Hey, Alex," and I told them, "No, that's not how you get me. How do you get me? You put your hand up and you say, 'Judge.'"
And that's how you summon them.
Exactly. And so, you know, you have to be able to, in a certain extent, when you're trying to play like that, be able to walk away. And unfortunately, you can't really walk away from something like, say, Gov.
Yeah, if you're the Azoria, you know, Grand Arbiter Augustine over here. Yeah.
Exactly. So I've got all of 4 pieces of instant speed interaction, and everything else is, oh, really? You want to fight? So
cool. Bye.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we've joked a number of times about for like Friday Night Paper Fight here on the channel, doing a brew night where there's no cards in it that interact.
Oh yeah.
We just wanted to see. It probably isn't good, but it was just like, we're like, all the creatures in it have to say like, this has to attack every turn, or this cannot block, or whatever, right? Like just things that it's like, if someone walked away from the table, there's really nothing besides like that they'd have to catch in, or we'd have to wait for them to return or whatever.
Basically, we just give everybody a Juggernaut aura.
Yeah, pretty much. Like I gotta know how that goes. It's probably kind of mediocre, but like
I feel like first turn advantage really helps on
Do you have a favorite like moment that you remember playing with this deck at all?
Yes, I do. One of my very favorite moments with this deck is I was playing with a new player. They basically had come into the store and we'd started talking a little bit. I was way back when my local store was Game Night Games and Cool Stuff at their old location, so I think that was location number 2 out of 3 now.
Okay.
And we were upstairs, and I remember we just sat down and we were just playing Commander. I'd sort of just gotten into feeling secure in, I'm a level 1 judge now. People know who I am. I've become known in this community finally, because I'll be honest, moving to Canada, everyone's really nice, but it is difficult to make friends.
There's definitely a lot of people who glomp onto each other since high school or even below, and then continue being friends post that.
And even worse in Winnipeg, there's nobody moving in and nobody's moving out. And so one of the moments I remember was explaining how commander damage worked. And they looked at Aurelia and they looked at how I'd put the deck together and what I'd done to make it work. And they're like, oh, so that's how you're going to kill me. And I'm like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm just going to hit you with this big angel.
Yeah, and so they pivot to removing all my stuff. And it felt really good because one of the things I really like to do in games when I have the opportunity is play the villain. Because I have the ability to be told, no, you don't win, and it doesn't bother me. And I know that isn't the case for everyone else. And especially for new players, I like to be able to say, you must defeat me if you want to win. And then when they do, it feels better.
I mean, and even then, like if you do end up beating them, I imagine in their minds too, they're like, oh, I know, now I see the lines that I could do and how I can improve, and I could beat the big bad Alex at the game store and stuff.
Exactly.
That's huge. I think having that sort of mentality is such a massive boon in Magic in general.
I find it helps cut down on the amount of salt, because I'll be honest, part of the reason I like playing Standard on Arena is no one can hear the things I say to the things
the profanities that are going on. Yeah.
A third ruin crack?
Who are you drafting with?
Exactly, yeah. And so I feel like especially for Commander, especially for Casual Commander is not something I've ever really understood. I think part of the problem is people do not have a good way to talk about what they want coming out of Casual Commander. They don't have a good framework for this is the kind of experience I'm trying to have, or even how to talk to other people about the experiences they don't want to have. And so being able to sort of take all that ire and all that angst and all that and coalesce it into this man is the problem helps, I think, not only with the social dynamics, but the extra social dynamics. When the game's over and you need to have somebody to talk to. Yeah, you're going to go talk to the guy who knocked your teeth in and beat you up real bad, but you had options for beating.
Yeah, and you're just excited to be like, man, it was so cool when you had this and I did this, and like I 100% love that.
Just giving a really specific example from a game that I think is probably already come out on our channel. I don't remember. Jan had an Elsha of the Infinite deck.
Okay.
That makes the new... I said Elsha of the Infinite? I don't remember. It's the new Elsha that
the threefold master or whatever?
Yeah, that makes the extra monks with prowess.
Yeah.
And so I played Gisela into that.
Oh, okay.
And so Jan ended up with like 15 prowess monks, and it turns out that's really good.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't that he was the villain. It was that I enabled him to become the villain.
You're really preaching to me, because like a major tone shift that I've had with my like deck building and just enjoyment of Commander in general has been not necessarily I'm always going group hug, although I love playing group hug, but my idea around that has shifted to not necessarily like I'm not Rites of Flourishing giving you a bunch of mana or anything like that. I'm doing this goofy thing that enables people to do goofy things. And at the end of the day, like I just want everyone to have done a thing, or I show you this cool thing I did that doesn't end the game or anything like that. You're just like, isn't this neat? Right?
100%. The thing is, I want to change the game. I do not want to win the game.
Yeah. I've come to the point where I'm just like, I just don't care if I win. I just want everybody to be able to do the thing that they built their deck for.
And so, especially in casual, I think the more you push towards that, try to win, but do it in a flashy way, try to change what's going on in the game to generate that attention, you're going to have more good times chasing that than chasing a 25% chance.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Well, thank you so much, Alex, for showcasing this. This is exactly what I was thinking about, when Graham and I were talking about starting up this show, was just like talking to people about a deck that gets them really, really excited and has very clearly been a key part of Magic for you in general. So thank you very, very much for coming on and talking about it. Yeah, absolutely. Well, where can people find you if they want to see more of either this deck or any of the other kind of decks that you pilot?
Absolutely. Well, my name's Alex, like I said, and I'm a member of the Spike Feeders. You can find us over on youtube.com/TheSpikeFeeders. We primarily make Commander gameplay in our own studio over in Jim's basement. That's not quite as nice as this studio.
We'll let you borrow the table for a little bit.
Do not tempt me. It'll be gone. But if you want to check that out, we release gameplay episodes every single Thursday and every other Tuesday. That's usually 6 games a month. And if you're a patron of ours, we can actually slip you another one.
Wink! Well, that gives me a great transition into, if you also are supporting us over at our Patreon at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun, you're the reason we're able to do all this cool stuff and, have a studio that we can invite all of our friends to come record content and stuff. I gotta say, this is obviously taking place during Camp Cardboard for those of you who have connected the dots with all this content coming out. It's been one of my favorite things that I've done in this sphere in a while.
Yeah, so this is quite literally one of my content goals. I said at the beginning of the year I wanted to be invited somewhere, and let me tell you, it's been a good time.
It's been so great. Well, thank you again, Alex, and thank you all for tuning on in. Reminder to subscribe if you haven't on the channel, dongle the bungle, do all that great stuff, and down in the comments below, is there someone you want me to talk to? Is there a deck that you've seen on the internet that you think is really, really neat? Let me know, and we'll see if we can make it happen, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.